Very happy to be here with you today, Marian Bennett.
Thank you, Alice. I'm delighted to be here. I've waited 40 years to come back for this picnic on Edisto Beach, South Carolina.
And what is the significance of this day?
40 years ago today, I was one of the civil rights workers working in Charleston, South Carolina on voter registration. That was actually just a couple of months before the 1965 Voting Rights Act was passed in August. But we were in Charleston, South Carolina, helping blacks register to vote and encouraging them to register to vote. In addition, I worked for the Head Start program in the morning and early afternoon as a teacher's assistant. So come 4th of July, what's more American than a picnic on the beach? Now, the state of South Carolina had closed Edisto Beach and all the other beaches and parks to avoid an order to desegregate. We knew the beaches and parks were closed, and we had been told by the NAACP not to get arrested. No problem, none of us wanted to get arrested. We decided to come to Edisto Beach as opposed to a closer-in beach, Foley Beach, because at Foley there had been some violence. We came to Edisto hoping to find it, while closed, with enough space that we could find a secluded spot to have a picnic.
And what happened when you arrived here?
When we got to the beach, we saw the no trespassing signs, and it's so incredible today to look around and see hundreds of people. But at that time, the beach was closed. There were no trespassing signs, probably right about where the grass ends at the entrance to the sandy part of the beach. But we also saw that the concession stand was open and that there were several whites on the beach enjoying the beach. So we decided to go across the no trespass line, put down our blankets, have a picnic, and if we were asked to leave, we would leave. No sooner had we put our picnic blankets down than state troopers told us we were under arrest. No opportunity to leave. We were all under arrest, all 13 of us. Now we asked him, well, what about the other people over there on that part of the beach? He just ignored them, but we were the only ones arrested.
And the people on the other part of the beach, were they an interracial group as well?
No, they were all whites.
So they were permitted to stay on the beach, but your group was arrested.
Exactly.
And what happened after you were arrested?
Well, it took them 2.5 hours to get us, as they said, all written up. By that time, the crowd had increased in number, the whites on the beach, and they came over from not just the public part, but the private part of the beach as well. They were not a friendly crowd, they were not welcoming. They came with stones and taunts. We had to walk through that crowd to get to the patrol cars and the paddy wagon that was to take us to the city jail.
And do you remember how you felt at this arrest?
I was scared out of my wits. And this was just a year after the murders in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Those 3 men had been arrested and then released, and then that's when the whites took them and beat them and killed them. So no one in their right mind, certainly not myself, would want to be arrested in the South.
But you were indeed arrested.
I was indeed arrested, taken to the jail. We were separated by gender, separated by race, which I thought just too preposterous to believe, to separate us by race, but we were. We weren't in jail all night, but maybe 2 hours, and then one of the NAACP lawyers got us out on bail.
And I believe that was Russell Brown?
That was Russell Brown, yes.
And when you were released, what happened next?
Well, I went home. It was the middle of the night, probably after the middle of the night. It was around 3. I had to be in a classroom the next morning for my Head Start job. So I'm told we went to a restaurant to eat. I don't remember that. I just remember going home, getting a few minutes of rest, getting up, getting dressed, going into my grandmother, again apologizing for being arrested, but also explaining to her that while we didn't intend to get arrested, we didn't want to be, we were sorry, that her taxes went to the upkeep and maintenance of those parks and beaches, and that she should be able to use them too. About a week later, I heard her saying the very same thing to someone on the telephone. 2 days after our arrest, we had this kangaroo court trial before Judge Seabrook, somewhere here on Edisto Island, where he called our attorney, Perry Mason, most of the time. The attorney's correct name was Matthew J. Perry. Didn't understand the motions, didn't understand the legal terminology, and before the trial had started, said that we were all guilty, that we were communists come from the north to break their laws.
And where were you from at that time?
It was in between my junior and senior year at Harvard.
And you were studying what?
I was majoring in American history.
And you are living American history.
Living American history, that's right.
And the aftermath of the trial?
The aftermath, well, it all happened so very quickly. We had our trial 2 days after our arrest, so the trial was July 6th. I don't remember much of the aftermath. The appeal motions were argued early fall, and our convictions were overturned in October of 1965. So we continued with our voter registration work. A group of us tried to enter the White Southern Baptist Church at Citadel Square in downtown Charleston, where we were turned away because they did not accept blacks in for the worship service. But we left. We didn't want to get arrested again. We'd had one time enough in jail. So we simply continued our voter registration work, and then at the end of the summer, went back to school or home.
And I understand this weekend, which is 2005, the 40th anniversary of that trial and aftermath, you did go back to that church.
We went back Sunday and could not have been more welcomed. I had called the church earlier to explain that we were coming and to explain what had happened 40 years before. They said that they were so embarrassed and ashamed of that part of their history and that we would be most welcome, and we were.
And today is a day of great meaning for you. You're standing here.
I'm here in Edisto Beach. I couldn't be happier. This is it. It's taken us 40 years to get back.
Well,
but about 2 years after our arrest, the parks and beaches were opened.
And this was a pivotal case, I understand.
I wouldn't say it was the pivotal case because it didn't go beyond the magistrate level or the Court of General Sessions. So there were other cases that went further up in the judicial system. But ours was part of the pattern of opposition to the closures.
And the 40th anniversary is a mighty big thing.
Yes, it is. Yes,
so
it is.
Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for being here with us.
It's a pleasure.